everyone. Thank you for joining me tonight. I have a special guest with me, Brittany Elliott, who is owner of Back to You in Five. Our session for today is related to, Mother's Day is coming, and also National Women's Health is for this month of May, and we also have National Mental Health for this month of May. And I thought it'd be a great discussion to talk about um, how self-care is important and what are some of the things that we can do in relationship to health care, self-care. And so I am going to read to you a little bit of a background of Brittany and have her come on and join us and have that discussion about the mental load and how we can actually get the mental load audit check that we can do for ourselves. So just a little bit brief about Brittany. She is a self-care mom and mom life management coach, podcaster, speaker, and now author. We're going to talk about her book and the creator of Back to You in Five. She helps married working moms feel vibrant, empowered, um, to help them reconnect and have a fulfilling and creating simple, sustainable healthcare routines that help them reconnect with themselves and improve their overall wellness. So welcome, Brittany. I just wanted to give a brief background about, you and the work that you do. And we're definitely going to bring your book as well. We're going to talk about that since now we have added author to your cadre of lists in the introduction. And we're also going to talk about the audit mental load audit checklist. So I'm excited about that because I don't, not that I've heard about that at all, at least for me anyway, as a working mom, to check myself and like, well, how do I do that? What are some of the things that I need to be in tuned and, just kind of a temperature gauge, where I am in my stress level or where I am in my feeling of overwhelmed or, where I am in the scheme of things, working, having a family, having, all other obligations and whatnot. So I think it's a great tool. But before we get all of that, I'm curious, what led you to write the self-care book? And please, when did it start? What inspired you? How'd you get there?
Absolutely. Well, first, can you hear me?
Yes.
Perfect. I just want to say you look great and it's good to
Thank
see
you.
you. And thank you for having me back. I was reflecting earlier and it was this time last year that you had me on one of your live sessions. So I didn't realize it felt like longer than that, but a year goes by quickly. So
Oh
thanks for
my.
having me back. The book, it was really for me time to compile all of the things that I had done in my efforts to build a sustainable self-care routine for myself. And then in the meantime of that, me reconnecting with me, I started coaching and started building my business. And I felt that I was getting to a point where in my motherhood journey now with my daughter, she just turned 7, I'm
Oh
going to start
my.
being a little
Already?
I know.
Oh wow.
So I'm going to start getting a little out of touch with that part of my life in that stage of motherhood. So before that happened, I really wanted to capture those strategies and have it together as a practical guide for working moms so that a new mom could still have all the tools that I had then in that stage of my life, because now things just kind of look different in my motherhood journey. And maybe those things don't directly translate to the challenges that I'm going into now. So I really wanted to freeze kind of that moment of my motherhood journey and put that out into the world. And so that's what I did.
So that's well. First of all, we love to have you back, and it's also good timing for this month. I mean, there's a couple of things happening in the wellness sphere. So we have the National Mental Health Month. Then we have the National Women's Health that's also happening in May, and of course, we can't forget Mother's Day. So that's the other piece of that. So there's lots of things going on as far as women's health is concerned. I like the preface of your book that you've frozen. So that's a frozen time of, is it from birth to where she is now? In that element of your motherhood, like she's going to grow
Mhm.
clearly, but in that it was the phase of what do I do as a new mother? What are some of the things and challenges? And there is that phase. There is definitely that phase of being a new mom. There's definitely I don't know what on earth am I doing. Get all
Mhm.
different advice as well. You also have some that are solicited and some that are unsolicited. You get a lot of things going on. And then, in your workplace, some can be afforded a couple months longer of, time off, some not so much. But I like that first initial stages, because there's definitely those stages that you go through.
The first 5 years, I think, of motherhood are its own beast, and I'm not saying that because that's the only part of motherhood I've gone through so far. I just
Sure.
think there's so much
Mhm.
change that happens in that time, especially when you feel very
Feel very
lost
lost
along your journey.
along your
So,
journey. So
I think that women who are in those first 5 years, it's really critical to take the time to reconnect with yourself and ask yourself, what you want motherhood to look like, how you wanna feel in your motherhood experience. There's just a lot of things that change can happen just in any 5-year span, but in motherhood, it just seemed very timely, and then after the book came out, there was a lot of workplaces called their employees back to the office, and
Sure.
I've been actually working in the office, like, the whole time. During the pandemic, there were only 3 months where I was work from home full time, so I've
Mhm.
navigated being in the office the entire time I've been a mom. So that became a timely thing too for it to be a resource. So how do I do this really working and commuting part and take care of my family and have self-care and?
and
So it just
so
really was a good time.
Do you see that? Do you also Can we also use that on the next child? Because as a first mom, you have these experiences, but I feel like your book can also be taken in the next stage, of the baby number two. Though they're different, each child is different. No two are alike. I have two daughters, and they're not alike. But I feel like even with the first phase, there's value in the second stage, because you learn from your tricks, but then you get to enhance it. Is that where you see some of this evolution also with your book for second time go around?
Yes, because I always try to focus it back to you.
you
It's
Mhm.
always about you. So when you have a second child, you are reborn again. Like, how do I do this now? And I'm in this space. How do I want this to look for me? And I think that's how a lot of women do get lost in the whole just motherhood experience because you're doing so much for the external people in your life and their demands and their needs, and you're not pausing to
not
think about,
positive
okay, what do I
okay,
need?
what do I
What do
need?
I
What
feel in
do
this
I
season
feel
of
in
my
this
life?
season of
So
my life? So
in any
in
resource that
any
I
resource that
create
I
through my
create
brand, it's
and
always going to point the woman back to her and what you want and how you feel in this season, regardless of all the external factors that are happening, because there's always things
things
beyond our
beyond
control.
our
Like, we don't know what kind
we
of
don't know
temperament our children are gonna
what
have. We
have
don't know what kind of, mood they're gonna be. We don't know what
we
type
don't
of
know
work life
type of work life
culture we're gonna
culture
have
we're gonna have
all the time,
all the time.
but you can always
So
control how you
always
react
control
to
how you
those in
react
your
to
own
those in your
behaviors.
own behaviors.
Yeah, understood. And I like that part of so self-care. Let's kind of back peel the onion a little bit here. So as a first-time mom, in terms of self-care, for your experience, what did that mean, the word self-care for you at the beginning stages of, okay, now I'm a mom. And what does that word mean? What did it mean for you in that context?
Self-care has
Self-care has
consistently been,
consistently been
how can I
how can
protect my
I protect
well-being and
my
happiness?
happiness.
And it looks
It
different for
looks different
everybody,
for everybody,
Mm-hmm.
but I think when you're
but I think
focusing
when you're
on
focusing on
what makes me
what
happy,
makes me
what brings
happy,
me
what
joy,
brings me joy,
what is
is
improving my overall wellness, whether it's my mindset, my physical wellness, my spiritual wellness, all of that. So for me, it's always been, what can I do to show up my best self for the people who need me today, including me?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So you recognized that the self care was something that you needed, something you felt that now I'm a mom. I need to connect myself with self care, because it's not just about everyone. I can't expel all my energy to everybody. It's more, I also need some for myself. Like it's a sense of self preservation also. Is that so? So for when you started to write the book and thinking about your experience and the word self-care, you brought a key element here: your happiness, your joy. What else are some of the things that, as you were saying, you started to go back to commute? Like, what would that look like? How do I get my schedule together? What else can I do that it's at my time, even if it's just 5 minutes? Like I could just enjoy coffee or something before the baby wakes up, or I can just put my feet up for a minute, before getting dressed and going to work, and whatever that activity may be. So what is that you could say, common to all of us, moms, that we can take 5 minutes? Is it just having coffee? Is it just sitting down for a second? Is it something? What would you say common across first time moms?
I always say to do something for your mind, body, or your spirit. So for our mind, we can be journaling, which is a 5-minute activity. For our body, move your body. You can just take a brief walk for just 5 minutes. You can stretch. You can lift weights, like do different strength training. And then for your spirit, pray or some form of meditation. If you stick to those when you're starting out, you're going to start feeling so much better just by doing something that impacts those 3 things: mind, body, spirit.
Gotcha. So this doesn't have to be like intense. It could just be something that you build up to, like, say 5 minutes. You have 5 minutes, and then you build more into it. Like not in the sense of taking away. It's more of, we start small and then you incrementally build a little bit more. Say your goal might be 20 minutes or something like that, right? Like, and that would be something that you would do for yourself. Oh, I like that. I like the incremental build, because you don't have to go at it all or nothing. You can at least build into something small, and as you build small blocks, you become noticeable in the way of, like, wow, that 5 minutes really felt good. Like, even if I could just be sitting for coffee, even if it's just a sip here and there, and enjoying that smell of coffee and just sitting down for a few minutes. And then if I need to move about, then I start thinking about, well, maybe I'll do in the morning, if I want to move, I can do, it's like a 5 minute walk, maybe just around the block or something where, while the baby's still, I know what time it is, I can build my time there. So there's simple things that you can do. It doesn't have to be, again, grandiose, big kind of thing. I think sometimes us women, we want to do something big right away, but it's not that. I get the sense that doing small is something that's good for us.
And it's mobile. You can do it anywhere. You can be at your office and do any of those activities. I have a resistance band on my desk. I have a yoga mat at work. Like, I can just stand up. I have a standing desk. So if I'm feeling tight in my shoulders, or, I'm about to go into a meeting and I feel like I'm going to be stressed out, or there's going to be a lot coming at me, I can just move my body and stretch it and work the resistance band. And that's something I did for me, even at work. So just, your self-care is within you. It's with you wherever you are. And once you adopt that and really commit to a self-care lifestyle, you will find little pockets of time and little opportunities to pour into yourself wherever you are, whatever time of day it is, no matter how many kids you have wanting something from you, you can always do something for you. The opportunity is always there.
For us working from home, at least what I could say in light of that self care, the micro breaks helps a lot for me. I also, those micro breaks, I put in like laundry. Like, I need laundry, I'm gonna get up and that'll be like my walk up to the steps, coming down. I find micro breaks are very helpful in my self care throughout the day. It recalibrates me and resets me. So I like that part of being able to build, that's 5 minutes. Grabbing a bunch of laundry and sticking it in the washer. And again, I could just do a little bit of stretch here and there. So that's helpful. Let's get into the audit checklist. So I want to, how can we utilize that? Because that's interesting to me. What is it in the checklist that I can start to think about? Am I having self care or am I not? Like how do I determine myself that what, I really need it? I've been thinking about it, or I have not thought about it, but how do I know I'm in that space? Like I now need this audit to determine, oh, I think I really need that.
Yes. So the
Yes, so
mental
the
load
mental load
is the Achilles
the
heel
Achilles
for a
heel
lot
for a
of
lot of
moms because
moms
that is
because
all
that
the
is all
invisible
the
labor
invisible
that goes
labor that
into running a household
goes
and raising
and
children.
raising children.
And the thing that
And
we overlook with the mental load is it's not just all the tasks that you have to do, it's the thinking as well. So the systems and the processes. Even for you to have built a system where you have your micro breaks, it's like, well, I'm thinking about all that. Is my husband thinking about that too? So then sometimes there's resentment that gets built into that. So when I
so when
created the
I
mental load
created the
audit,
mental load
it
audit
was to make all of
to make
that
all of that
invisible labor
invisible
more
labor
visible,
more visible,
to give
to
women
give women
the
the
really
really
space to
space
let some
to
of that
let
stuff
some of
go.
that stuff go.
Because a lot of times
Because a
we're
lot of
worried
times
about
we're
things
worried
that
about
really
things
aren't
that really aren't
important right now,
important right now,
and they
and
start to stress
they
us
start to
out. And
stress
when
us
we're
out. When we're
stressed, we don't
stressed,
have
we don't
clarity,
have
and then
clarity,
we can't see the
and we can't see
opportunities
the
that we have for
opportunities that we
self-care.
have for
So
self-care.
a really
So
good
a
way
really good
to
way to
create space for your
create space
self-care
for
routine and a
self-care
self-care
routine and a
lifestyle
self-care
is to
lifestyle
audit your mental load and to see
to
what's
see
really
what's
in it.
in
And when you
it.
talk about laundry, like for me,
Like
I
for me, I
detest laundry,
test
not because
not
it's a
because
tough task,
of task,
but when I do
but
laundry, I go
laundry,
down a rabbit
go down
hole
a rabbit
of
hole of
inventorying everybody's
inventorying
clothes. Like,
everybody's
does my
clothes.
daughter need new
My daughter
socks?
needs
Does she need new leggings? Like now I'm cataloging all the things that I'm going to have to do. So it's not just the laundry I'm doing now. It's all the shopping I may have to do now that I've put away the laundry or I've seen items with holes, and it's a whole
it's
thing.
a whole
And
thing.
so
And
I
so
had to take a
I had
step
to
back
take a
and
step
see
back and
how
see
can I make this
how can I make
process
this process
better for me
better for me
in my home.
in
And so
my
I had
home.
to
And I had
have a
to
conversation
have
with
a
my
conversation
husband,
with
and I had to talk about, can we outsource laundry? Is that an option? Something that we can do? Can you carry more of the
carry
laundry
more of
load?
the
Like
laundry load. Like
literally, like how
literally,
can we
how
make
can
this work
we
together?
get
And
together?
a lot of
And
times
times
men aren't
men
thinking
aren't
in that
thinking
way.
in that way.
And so
And so
it's a great
it's a
tool
great
to
tool
audit to
to
do with your
audit to do with
spouse.
your
So they can
spouse. So
see
they
like,
can
oh, you
see
think
like, oh,
about
you
all
think
of that
about
stuff
all of that
all
stuff
the time,
all
every
the time,
day.
every day.
And
And
they may not
they
quite
may not
get it
quite
and
get it
understand
and
it, but they can
understand it.
help take
They
more
can
things
help
off
take
of
more
you
things
when they
off of you
know
when they know
you're
you're
overwhelmed just by
overwhelmed
what's
just
going
by
on in your
what's
mind.
going on
Like
in
my
your mind.
husband could
My
see me
husband
going
could
down
see
a
me
rabbit
going down
hole,
a
a
rabbit
spiral in
hole,
my mind,
spiral in
and
my
he's like,
mind.
hey,
And he's like, hey,
I got it. Just
you
don't
got
even
it.
think
Just
about
don't
it.
even
And
think
that's
about
very
it. And
helpful.
that's very helpful.
I like what you just said. Having as a couple going through the checklist, because to your point, it's not like we have a crystal ball. They certainly don't know entirely until you tell them, what it is that you need and what the help that you need in order to fulfill that self care, or even just to fulfill a help in terms of that. So. That's great, because then it also lets them know where the need is, or where it is that you're overwhelmed, or where you're frustrated, and where you are becoming resentful in areas that unbeknownst to them, because you kind of doing you're doing it all, or if you're right, if you're not doing it all, you're doing majority of the things that they can help with. And again, I go back to, they don't have a crystal ball, so you have to tell them entire, what that is. But doing this together also is an eye opener as well, I think, for both people, because then it allows them to say, oh, well, maybe if I take this on, then this would be one thing less of your list, right? And if this is something that you can delegate, or just let that go. For you, laundry goes into a whole nother thing. But if you took on to laundry, it would be helpful that so that that then you don't have to go into a rabbit hole of like other things yet. He can see potentially what would be, or help determine kind of where things are from an inventory of clothes. So even like like cleaning the house, or just even the grocery shopping. Like some things, not that I don't detest grocery shopping, but if I can make it easier of like, ordering, not ordering, but placing everything online, just picking it up, that's beautiful. Every now and again, I don't mind going to the store because I know what it is that I'm trying to go list. But like it's helpful to say, hey, I've got this. Can you on the way home pick it up because I need it for whatever dinner or something that you're cooking dinner or do something like that. I think that's helpful. One thing off your plate. You don't now have to after picking up the kids, you don't have to go to the store, beeline to the store and go grocery shopping. So I like that it would be something that they can do together. It's also an awareness of like where how stressed you are as his wife, and how what's going on, and be like, oh, didn't know you were that stressed, or oh wow, this is like really affecting you. Maybe let me help you with what you're doing with your self-care. So that I think there's benefits in making that together. And now if you have a friend, and let's say you don't, you're not a couple, but you have a friend, is that something that you can also go through with your friend? Either your best friend or someone that you exercise with, or someone that you kind of do activities. Can you do the checklist together and can you make a goal and like a self-care goal together also?
Absolutely, because I
Absolutely.
think that
I
we
think that
thrive
we
in
thrive in
community,
community,
women
women
especially,
especially,
and someone
and
may have a
someone may
really
have a
good
really good
system for
system
dealing
for
with
dealing
some
with
part
some
of a
part
household
of a
task
household
or their
task or
commute or
their
whatnot.
commute or
So
whatnot.
something that
So
may weigh
something that
heavy on your
may have
brain
on
in
your
your
brain
mental
in
load
your mental
may
load
not weigh that
may
way
not
in
be
mine.
that way in
I
mine.
could say,
I could
"Hey,
say,
Karen, have you
hey,
thought about
have
doing
you
it
thought
like
about
this?
doing
Or
it like this?
have you
Or
heard of this resource over here? Like it's done
here, like
wonders
it's
for me.
done
You should
wonders for
try
me. You
that."
should try that.
So when
So
we start
we
to
start to
just unpack
just
some of that a
unpack
little
some of
bit
that a
and
little
say, "Hey,
bit and say, hey,
I'm stressed out,
I'm
but it
stressed
doesn't
out,
seem
but
like I should be
I
stressed
like
out.
to be
Maybe I'm
stressed
stressed
out.
out
Maybe
in
I'm
here.
stressed out in here.
Let's get some of that
Let's get
out."
some of that
So
out.
I think that it
So
would
I
be
think
great
that
to
it would
do it
be
with
great to
anybody,
do
even
with
if you're
anybody,
not
even if you're not
in a relationship
in a
and you rely
relationship and you
heavily
rely
on your
heavily on
village.
your
You
village.
can say,
You
"Hey,
can
I'm really
say, hey, I'm really
struggling with some
struggling
of these
with
things in
some of
my
these
mental
things
load.
in
Like,
my
can you
mental
take
load.
some
Like,
of
can
this
you
off
take
of
some
me,
of
or
this
can you
off
help
me,
me
or
with
can
this
you
or
help
that?"
me with this or that?
So it
So
really is
really is
has so many layers, and it opens up so many opportunities for you to just
just
feel better and release a lot of
release
the
the
overwhelm that could be
that could
happening
be
just
happening
from a
just
mental
from
load
a mental
spiral. Because I will tell you that your spouse or people around you may not even know that you're carrying what you carry. You may not know that you carry what you carry. I mean,
period.
my husband and I were hanging out one day, and I got up off the couch. We were just lounging around, and I got up and I was like, "Okay, I need to start
Okay,
making
we need
dinner."
to
And
make
he's like,
dinner.
"No,
No,
just
just
play with me. Like for a couple more
like
minutes, we can just hang out." And I was like, "Well, we don't have a dinner fairy." And he said, "You know what? Like
like
it kinda is
it kind of
magical
is
for him
magical
that
for
dinner
him
just
that
kind of
dinner just kind of
appears. He
appears.
doesn't think
He
about
doesn't think
everything
about
that has to go
everything that has to go
into just
into
creating
just
dinner, and that's
creating
not,
dinner. And
like,
that's not like
me saying anything
me
bad
saying
about
anything
him, it's
bad
just
about him.
if
It's
I'm
just if I'm
primarily doing
primarily
the
doing
preparation of dinner,
preparation of dinner.
why would he ever
Why
think
would he
about
ever
the
think
process
about the
that goes
process
into
that
it
goes
just
into it
on a
just
regular
on a
basis? He
regular
wouldn't.
basis? You
So
wouldn't.
if you sit
So
with
if
your
you sit with
partner
your
and
partner and
look at, like,
look
"Okay,
at
so
like,
to make
okay,
this
so to
one
make this
meal,
one
this is
meal,
everything
this
I
is
had to think
everything I had
about."
to think about.
They'll say,
They'll
"Oh,
say,
maybe
oh,
we shouldn't have
maybe
that
we
as
shouldn't
often. I
have that
didn't
as
realize
often.
when
I
I
didn't realize when
asked
I
for shrimp
asked for shrimp
carbonara, it was all this
carbonara
stuff."
was all this
They
stuff.
just really
They
don't
just
know.
really
So
don't
give them
know.
some
So give
grace
them
too.
some grace too.
Yeah, for sure. So in the workshop, what all do you cover? And also, is that in person, virtual? How like the cadence and whatnot? Uh, what is all in the mental load workshop?
Good question. So
Good
originally,
question. So originally,
the mental it was just
mental, it was
only the
just
mental
only the
load
mental
audit,
load
and
audit.
I have it here, like,
I
to
hear
this
like
this is, like,
this is
how
like
it's set
how
up,
it's set up,
like an
Okay.
extreme
Okay.
checklist of different
checklist of
tasks that you
different
may
tasks
have,
that
and
you may
it's not
have, and
just
it's not
things you
just
do, but
things
it's
you
also
do, but
things
it's
that you
also
think
things that
about.
you think about.
And so I
Okay.
put it out there into the
Like
world,
in
and I'm like,
the
"Oh,
world,
this is
and
a
I'm like,
great
oh, this is a
thing,"
great thing.
but then I thought, "How do
But then
people
I
know
thought, how do
exactly how
people
to
know
use it?"
exactly how to use it?
Right.
So I
So
created the
I
workshop where
workshop where
we're
we
walking through it. It's
walk through it.
virtual.
It's
It's completely
virtual.
on
It's
demand. So
completely on
once you buy
demand.
the
So once
audit
you
and the
buy the
workshop,
audit
you
and
have
the
access
workshop,
to
you
it.
have access to it.
I give
I
you
give
background
you
on what the
background
mental
on
load
what
is, why you're
it is,
carrying, like
like
mental weight, why it comes about, why you're so stressed out about it, why your spouse may not have a mental load. So I train you on that. And then we go through the mental load audit together, because just to give you a tool and not give you enough support on how to use it didn't sit right in my spirit.
Right.
So the workshop came after that, and it's been very impactful with them paired together.
So I heard on demand. So that means that I can do it at my pace, it sounds
Yeah.
like. So that, okay. Because some of us who, again, like to pace ourselves. There's some folks some women out there that, can, the ability to be able to just turn it on when we need to, and then follow through what needs to be with the book, the book and the sheet, and then go apply it, right? Because we want to apply it, and once we learn, and then we can come back, and then we can have a few more again. I like that, because again, I do think application has to follow with your training, like as you're using it, but the ability to be able to on demand come back to it and just be able to see it again. For me, I can only speak for me. I like to go back to like re-listening to something and be like, now, was there anything that maybe in the first time go around I didn't hear? I need to hear it again. Like maybe there was a point that Brittany said, and I'm just like, oh, okay, I didn't put that on my list. And did I consider that as, something that I need to work on? So, it's interesting. Repeated activity or repeated listening into something. I find it interesting when you hear it for first time and then you hear it again on a second and third, you seem to find something new that you didn't quite, account for, or, that maybe I need to incorporate that with this because I didn't realize it the first time. So that's neat. And then the fact that it's virtual, so you could be anywhere. It sounds like, so I'm not relegated at home. Like I could just be in my car. I could be sitting in the park, or not. Well,
you could.
You could. Yeah, you could. You could. And again, it sounds like it's something portable. So I like that it's portable.
Yeah, it's really just you evolve, like how I was speaking about. I've changed so much and just I've grown so much. So even if I would have taken this and did this 2 years ago and then I do it today, it may be different. What's going on my mental load may be different. So check in with yourself often, and that's why it's there. And it doesn't expire. You just have access to it. It lives forever.
Oh, that's awesome. That's even better. So that means that I can, again, it sounds like you can stop. And so when I say stop, I mean like take, obviously if you're in the car and you're doing it, or, we don't want to do that while you're driving, but you can think about it, and then write down your notes once you're, at a stop. But I like the portability in the sense that I could take you with me and take my stuff wherever I want to do that. And if I want to have alone time with myself, whatever that alone time looks like, whether, I go to a bookstore or just find like coffee time and I'm here, again, sitting and taking time for myself. It's nice to be able to do that audit, and you can also see progress. It sounds like you can also track your progress in this checklist. Is that by default kind of the outcome as well? You're able to track your own progress based on what you've checked off.
You can track your progress and you can be your own judge. It's almost like outside looking in. It's like, is this thing I've been thinking about that important? Because I asked you to rank how important is this from 1 to 5. And if you're telling yourself it's a 2, objectively, this is a 2, but you let yourself get rattled about it as if it's a 5, that's like, you shouldn't be resentful of anybody else. It seems like it's a you thing. And maybe that says, you know what, I need to go get a therapist now. It could tell you deeper things about yourself beyond these 4 walls. And that's what I like about it. In all the work that I do, it's very much leading you down a path that works the best for you. It's all about getting back to you in the way that feels the best so that you can reclaim joy for yourself.
I like that. Now, I think what I have in the chat though is the link that you sent me with all your services. I just want to bring it up now. I just want to make so I put that there. If anyone needs to grab it, please do. And and again, I like the fact that you said it was forever. So it's again, I feel like the pace is, I can only speak for myself, but if those are other women out there that love pacing, meaning we go back to it, we, use it as a resource. It's a great way, in the way of self-learning as well. And for some of us, there are some of us that are self-learners and just want to, get, oh, I feel like I need to learn today. It's kind of like with LinkedIn Learning. You want to get a course, and then you're like, you know what, I need that. I'm gonna turn that on, and I'm gonna, need to learn. So the portability, again, I like the fact that it's forever. I like that. The other parts is, on demand. I can use it at any given time. That's wonderful. And then, so what do you feel is the takeaway for us in terms of this? That over time, um, we achieve the self-care, we get to be more familiar about that audit checklist. Do we then start to grow?
Yeah, self-care
Yes,
is just
self-care is
so
still
evolutionary, as is
evolutionary
life,
as
as is
life, as
all
is
growth.
all
So it's
growth.
very important
So
to
it's very
just meet
important to just
yourself
put
where you
yourself
are,
where you
and
are
doing the
and
mental load
doing the mental
really gives you an
really
illustration of how that would
illustration
look.
of
Because we
how
throw
that
it
would
out
look.
there like, just meet yourself
Like,
where you
just
are,
meet
find
yourself where
yourself
you
where
are,
you are.
find
Okay,
yourself
how do
where
I
you are.
do
Okay,
that?
how do I do that?
Well, you
Right.
do the mental
Well, you
load
do
audit, and it'll tell
it,
you
it'll tell
what's
you
really, really rattling you.
really
And I
rattling
think
you. And I think
any tool
any
that pulls
tool
us
that
into the
pulls us
present,
into the present,
especially when
especially when
we're
we're
experiencing motherhood and
experiencing
we're
motherhood and we're
always
always
forecasting
forecasting
something,
something,
just to be able to sit
to
with
be able
ourselves
to
in
sit
the
with
present is
ourselves
such a
present
gift
is such a
that we
gift
don't
that
always
we don't
see the
always
opportunity
see the
for.
opportunity for.
Awesome. So how do we get in touch with you? And for all you ladies out there that, we all have friends, we all have mothers, we all have grandmothers, aunties, whatnot. This would, for someone that has everything already, when I say everything, whatever that may be, I think this is a really good gift to have, particularly since it's something they can have for life, and something that you can keep with you and help you in your journey of, self-care at any given points of your phases within motherhood. And that's what I also like about that. I feel like it can also go into different phases of life, not just when kids are here and they're in their small ages, but as they progress throughout time, because believe it or not, even when your kids are in their adult ages, you still need self-care. So how do we get in touch with you? How do we get this tool and material? What's the best way?
Absolutely. So I
Absolutely.
hang out
I
on
hang out on
Instagram. My
Instagram.
handle's at
My
Back to
handle
You in
back
Five.
to you in
And then
five.
you can find all
And
my
then you can
resources
find
on
my
my
resources
website,
on my website,
backtoyouin5.com/mom. Has it all
backtoyouin5.com.
there,
Has it
nice and
all there,
tidy for you of
ready
everything
for
that I
you,
offer.
everything
You can
that I
grab the
offer.
book
You can
from
grab the
there.
book from
You have
there.
access to the
You have access
podcast
to
from
the
there.
podcast
So
from
I
there.
create
So I
a
create
variety
a
of
variety of
resources
resources
that can help no matter which way you like to retain your media. I try to just offer things that anybody can get at any stage of their motherhood journey. So I'm happy to meet you there.
All right. Well, I thank you for being my guest. I'm gonna pick my all my tools, at your website, and I will have something that I know will start for myself in the summer, and start to build into my, self care again. Feel like my self care is slipping through, so I need to get back on that horse.
Yes. Thanks, Sharon.
Thank you.